Can't I just do hand delivery? Aren't they gonna be in there?
Every mystery needs a good hook.
I've never been through this before.
And a compelling character.
You know, and if I didn't show up, then they would just garnish my wages, which is just ridiculous.
Michelle Weeder committed no crime, and yet here she and they are, in a courthouse, left to ponder.
Oh my goodness.
What possibly could have gone so wrong.
Again, you're guilty until proven innocent. Hi.
This is Adams County's version of Colorado's debt court.
38261.
Almost no one has legal representation.
Do you have your paperwork?
I sure do.
There's no judge to be seen.
So ridiculous.
And what it lacks in clear-cut rules,
I don't know what you need.
it more than makes up in
So I don't get to see the judge today about this?
confusion.
I'm accused of something that I never received a bill for.
Right.
But I have to pay their fees.
Weeder's story is one of thousands 9 News Investigates found that share one common chapter.
2 years later, 3 years later, I get served papers?
Each involves a visit to Colorado's best-known medical provider.
Pure bull.
Consider what we found a numbers game few hospitals like to admit they play. Lawsuits filed against patients for debts the hospitals say they're owed. In 2018 and 2019, court records showed us no hospital system in the state played the game more often than UCHealth.
Our job is to stay out of the courts.
When UCHealth's chief legal officer agreed to talk to us about it, she explained it's not something the hospital giant likes to do.
99.9% of our patients get through the process without any involvement from a collections agency or a court.
Which brings us to what some patients now believe is the numbers game UCHealth spent years trying to hide. In early 2020, public records suggest UCHealth largely ceased its litigation practices. Hundreds of lawsuits every quarter turned into one or two at most, quarter after quarter after quarter. But like all good mysteries, we found this one contained a twist. One that first revealed itself to us on I-25 just north of Colorado Springs, of all places.
The ambulance came right away.
And what did you tell the ambulance? When a truck she was in collided with a few deer. Lorena Sanchez told the responding paramedics she didn't have insurance.
And I said, oh, no, I don't want to go to a doctor, to the hospital. I don't. I'm okay.
They insisted she needed to go here, UCHealth Memorial North. A single CT scan found 0 broken bones.
No more than an hour and a half. No more than an hour and a half.
She imagined a bill for a few grand. A year later, UCHealth demanded quite a bit more, 24 grand plus.
But when you go through that and you see that dollar amount for 1 hour and a half, it doesn't make sense.
And a year after that, a lawsuit filed not by UCHealth, but by a business known as Credit Service Company, or a CSC, it turned up at her door.
I got sick. My blood pressure went up because I got scared.
We tracked each of CSC's 1,500 lawsuits it filed in 2023. After that, we started calling defendants.
I had never heard of them. I had to look them up.
People like Gabrielle St. James.
It was a shock, and I was pretty upset when I saw how much they could possibly get from me.
Many told us they too had received CSC lawsuits after visiting a UCHealth-run hospital.
I don't know what it's going to come down to, but I don't have any money left.
It was a very weird thing. I was like, there's someone playing a prank on me right now. Honey, wake up.
And many told us what Liz told us. They only found out they owed money when someone delivering a CSC-signed court summons knocked on their door. Liz agreed to talk to us if we agreed to use only her first name.
I was more than confused. Like, I couldn't figure out what this bill was, why I owed it, why I was being sued. I didn't know.
In 2020, right as UCHealth's lawsuits appeared to disappear, the hospital giant stopped putting its name on its lawsuits, instead opting to use someone else's, like CSC's.
When these patients are getting sued, they're getting sued in the name of some debt collector they've never heard of and never had a relationship with.
Denver attorney David Seligman says our investigation confirmed what he's long believed, that UCHealth found a convenient way to sue patients on debt it still owns without having a publicly traceable way to document its aggressive litigation.
It's tried to have it both ways, right? On the one hand, it said, we're not going to sell all this debt, and we're not selling all this debt. But on the other hand, we're not going to put our name on this lawsuit either.
No one can determine how often you're suing right now. To be honest with you, no one can determine that. It's not publicly available. It almost seems like there was a policy shift. What happened?
We are not deliberately doing anything other than trying to work with our patients.
During that interview with Jackie Cooper-Melman, she never explained why UCHealth stopped suing under its own name and only offered this.
Couldn't you just sue under your own name? Could you?
It would make less sense, honestly, to do that because the debt at that point is assigned to the vendor.
I'm not saying you can't use a debt collector. I'm just saying you can use a debt collector and still put your name on as the plaintiff. Can you not?
Honestly, in my view, that is more confusing. This is the normal course. This is the way things work with these vendors, and it's how we do it.
How we do it, but not how others do it. In fact, the state's largest for-profit system, Health One, doesn't sue patients at all. And SCL, now known as Intermountain, discontinued lawsuits against patients in October 2022.
We're not hiding from anything. We're completely transparent. We're not denying that these suits can happen, and I'll just tell you that these suits happen at the end of a very long process, and it is exceedingly rare.
So if you're transparent, I assume then you can tell me how many times you've sued in the last couple of years at some point. Maybe not today, but at some point in the not-so-distant future, you could tell me that?
If you need that, we can try, sure.
Days later, we learned something also not previously reported. That since 2019, UCHealth has sued more than 15,000 patients, or 3,000 patients a year, the bulk under a debt collector's name.
15,000 lawsuits in 5 years. 8 patients a day, roughly. What do you think?
I think that's shocking, and I think that's not how it should be.
When state senators Lisa Cutter and Sonia Jaquez Lewis saw our initial report,
I was shocked by your story. I was shocked at the volume of the cases.
both vowed to solve this mystery once and for all.
Senator Jaquez Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
House Bill 1380 will not stop hospital systems like UCHealth from suing patients.
Coloradans in financial difficulties just can't wait.
But it will force them to sue under their own names.
The owner of the debt has to now be listed on the complaint that goes to court. And I want to give a shout out to several investigative reporters that have been following this for years. And I hope it's okay, because these folks really brought this to light. Chris Vanderveen and his team, they found painstakingly 15,000 cases in 5 years.
I think we owe you a little bit of thanks for sure, maybe a lot of thanks and gratitude, because it pointed us in the right direction. Now we'll be able to know how many times a hospital takes a Coloradan to court.
By the end of the year, thanks to this new law, if UCHealth sues you and CSE brings the case to court, your summons won't look like this. It'll look like this.
Hospitals do not need to sue patients. It is not a significant part of their revenue.
North Carolina researcher Barack Richmond says what we found is a problem for researchers across the country as they try to better understand what hospital systems sue the most patients.
We expect that there are a lot of hospitals in North Carolina that are doing the same thing.
His study, this study, found nonprofits like UCHealth do sue much more than for-profits.
Nonprofits are revenue maximizers just like for-profits are. And if an entity owes money to a nonprofit, the nonprofit will seek that out just as aggressively, and in this case, perhaps even more aggressively than the for-profit. And that really begs the question why we give nonprofit status to hospitals if in fact they're acting just like for-profits.
Why continue to do this?
We do not want to end up in court. It is the end of a long process where our goal is to work with patients. Any patient that responds to us, we will work with them.
News to former patients like Lorena Sanchez.
Very, very scary.
She says she visited this hospital numerous times, each time asking for help in lowering her $24,000 bill. One time,
and this is what she gave me.
She says someone gave her this, a pledge to reduce her $24,000 bill by 73%.
And she said, oh, well, you qualify for this discount. So don't worry, we're going to send this by mail.
That reduced bill never arrived. And when this lawsuit did, it was like the pledge never happened.
This is 2023.
This is a year after.
And it still says $24,000. It makes you wonder, what the heck's going on?
Mm-hmm. That's what's driving me crazy.
Within the hundreds of lawsuits 9 News Investigates reviewed, we found many more patients equally bewildered. I was told I had a zero balance. I never saw these bills before, never made aware of debt. I was never sent an itemized bill. I had Medicaid.
I've spoken to at least 50 different people.
Do you want to make it 51?
Sure.
Kristen Messenbaugh showed us what it's been like for her to try to work with UCHealth.
This call may be recorded for quality assurance and training purposes.
You probably heard a lot of hold music over the months.
Oh, this is the same song we've been playing for.
Is it?
Yeah.
She accrued a bunch of charges when a horse kicked her. Doctors had to remove her spleen. She's insured. UCHealth still wants nearly $23,000. She says her insurance wants to pay that, but
they stated if you would change the code back, they would pay the bill in full.
She insists that simple code change, a code that documents how the hospital admitted her, would result in her insurance paying all of it. And yet, once again, the 51st person,
I don't think so, thank you,
from UCHealth's billing department decided not to change the code.
It's hanging over my head. What am I going to do? I don't have $23,000.
UCHealth insists to us that they go to great lengths to work with their patients.
No, the payment plans they offered me, I couldn't afford.
I had a suspected blood clot in my calf.
Carrie Wernicke went as far as to ask UCHealth for an estimate before she showed up. $800, she was told.
Oddly enough, the gal that did the actual ultrasound told me it was just a pulled muscle. I never heard from a doctor. I never heard from anybody. And I went on my way.
No blood clot.
No blood clot.
A few months later, UCHealth said it wanted $2,000.
In what world does this make sense?
It doesn't make sense, and I have tried calling them numerous times, and I have not been able to reach anybody to discuss this.
UCHealth insists to me that they will bend over backwards for their patients in their billing disputes. Does it feel that way?
Not at all. Not at all.
This is not hard to find, but these are real people here, and they say the system that you've assured them is in place is there, and it's not working for them.
Yeah. Might there be a problem here and there? Maybe. I can tell you that of the cases that make their way to the courts, we are successful most of the time. At some point, when the patient receives something, they can call us. If the problem is on our side, we'll correct it.
UCHealth, for its part, seems uninterested in slowing or stopping its aggressive bill collection practices.
I'm here because credit service company is suing me for a hospital bill that I've never seen any proof of.
Bad news for people like Angela, who we met outside an Adams County courtroom.
I'm just confused on why, out of all the bills that year, this MRI at this particular hospital was not paid for.
Sometime this year, thanks to the new legislation, we'll be able to track how often UCHealth or any other hospital system sues its patients on unpaid debt. We'll be able to finally solve this mystery once and for all.
I want the court to dismiss this case.
Michelle Weeder says in the meantime, she intends to fight.
It doesn't make any sense.
Court records tell us, despite her protests,
I have insurance.
She's still likely to lose. Like most defendants in debt court, she has no attorney, and she's going up against a giant.
I never received a bill, and I never received a phone call regarding this.
A giant in Colorado healthcare that's been writing this story for years.
So if you want to file charges or dispute it, then you would go over to the clerks over there?
Well, I was served a summons to appear in court for an unpaid bill that I never knew I had.
Are you Michelle Weeder?
Yes.
And did you go upstairs to the court?
Yeah, I went up there and they told me I had to come back down here first.
File your answer?
Yeah.
Was the attorney not present?
I have no clue. I've never been through this before.